Dun, dun, dun. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis. Here singing the Amazing Race ditty is Jonathan. How are you, Jonathan?
It's you know what, that is a good, like, you tell me that doesn't come on and it doesn't make you happy.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
it's so good. I love the Amazing Race.
Yeah.
The only thing that's rivaling it right now is Squid Game.
Oh gosh, I binged. They released the first five episodes of Squid Game's The Challenge, and I stayed up all night.
Yep.
And then it was 4 more episodes after that. Had to watch it all in one sitting.
All in one sitting.
I'm like, they could make. I just obsessed with it. I think the editing. Are we supposed to be talking about this right now? But I think the editing is so well done. It's well produced. It's well, like, how they were able to get all these different storylines that intermingle with 400 and some odd people. I was just like, ooh, they put the effort and time into it. And I know it's not, it's an edited show, so it's not. We see a lot of them on TikTok saying what really happened in some situations and how they didn't show stuff, but a good watch. If you're not watching Squid Game's The Challenge, you are missing out.
Definitely missing out. Maybe after the next episode, the finale drops, maybe we'll just come and talk about the whole season on a whole. Just everything. Just kind of like a kiki about.
Yeah, and we can talk about all the behind the scenes stuff, what we've heard and what really happened and all those things too, because there's a lot.
Maybe we can get Dash on. Dash,
Dash.
and I were friendly before he went on the show.
There you go.
Okay, we have little Mickey here. Hello, Nikki. It's really sad that this season of The Amazing Race is coming to an end, but it's been electric. This episode's called Everyone Loves a Comeback Story, and we do love a comeback story, and they're going to be flying to Stockholm, Sweden. So another place where I've never been. How about you?
Never ever, but I would. I mean, it's definitely, I feel like I like the lifestyle over there. You know what I mean? The culture.
IKEA.
Sure.
Swedish meatballs.
There's an IKEA right over there. I was excited to see this episode, and just overall, before we even get started, it was such a tight episode and you can feel it. You can feel like even if a team falls behind, which they do, they're probably not that far behind. You know what I mean? No. It was so close. Edge of my seat the whole time. I was so worried for certain teams.
Oh, yes. So they're going to be flying 1,000 miles north to Stockholm. Greg and John, our first place kings, are leaving at 6:40 a.m. Joel and Garrett at 7:01. So like a 21-minute lead on them. Okay, it's tight, but it's pretty. It's enough. Steve and Anna Lee are leaving at 7:19. Rob and Corey 7:29, and Todd and Ashley 9:28. Love it when Nikki is sad. It was kind of sad, but did we predict them? Who did we predict was going to go?
I feel like last week I said literally any teams at this point, but I definitely felt that they were not top 3.
They finished 5th place almost every leg of the race.
I remember you saying that. Yeah, so it's like 5th again is just not going to cut it this time around.
Exactly. It was sad though, because I really actually am caring for all these teams, even the teams that I'm like, nah, I actually kind of like them now a little bit more.
Oh, well, like Steve and Anna Lee, I was, the fact that she was being so nice to Rob and Corey, again, being so nice to Rob and Corey and working together and not, in those moments, I'm like, oh, okay. And I thought it was sweet, so I like seeing it. Yeah.
So everybody is going to be on the same flight over to Stockholm. We see Todd and Ashley Googling where they're going to be going, and they learn that it's going to be skydiving, and Ashley is immediately terrified. So we'd be losing the race right now. You wouldn't do it?
Yeah, we'd be taking the penalty.
What do you think the penalty would be?
2 hours. That's why you don't go on the race with me. It's no, I told you I can't do bungee jumping and I can't do skydiving.
Skydiving seems safer than bungee jumping, no?
It's not just a can't, it's I will not, because on the chance that is something that happens, I'd be dead, but I'd never forgive myself, and I'd be like, I didn't have to do this. There's risks that you can take and push yourself past certain fears. I just will never go skydiving or bungee jumping. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen.
Oh my God, we're going to lose the race because of
Not going
this.
to happen. I feel like I would talk to producers beforehand and be like, if there's skydiving or bungee jumping, do not cast me on this season because I'm not doing it.
I'm so heartbroken. Jonathan, what if
doing it.
this is $1 million?
I don't care. $1 million is not that much these days. I'm not doing it.
$1 million US.
I'm not doing it.
Oh my gosh.
Not doing it.
All right. You know your limit. So 6:45 p.m. everybody is going to be arriving here in Sweden. And Rob and Corey have to use the express pass this leg. They don't really have a lot of time to use it.
Right. And they
just got it.
Absolutely. And they've been talking about it so much. I was worried that they were going to, use it at the wrong time and it's going to come back and haunt them, or because there's just so much discussion about it.
Yeah, no, I definitely was like, uh-oh, is this going to be, they use the express pass and they still come in last? I was like, oh boy. Yeah. Like a lot of things that were happening in the edit, I was just like, I was getting nervous for teams. Absolutely. So Steve and Anna Lee, they're deciding to pay their taxi in advance so that they don't have to waste any time doing any payments at that point. I think it's a pretty good strategy. You'd think that they'd be doing that, like negotiating prices before they get to the destination. So they can just like, boom, give it to them, right?
Yeah, it's very smart. I have a few hot takes on Steve and Anna Lee that came out of this episode that I think is what's going to happen to them in the finale, because I do think they make the final three. So I feel like we got hints of it, and I feel like their ability to do things like this is what's going to get them in the final three, and then we'll see things later that I think is going to cost them the win in the final three. But we'll talk about that as we go along.
So Lovable Nikki understands you're not wanting to bungee jump or skydiving, but thinks that skydiving and bungee jumping on the racing race would be the safest bet. It would be. They don't want you to die.
Oh, I'm sure. But at the same time, there are accidents that could happen. I mean, and listen, logically, I know driving in the cars is the most dangerous thing that they do on the Amazing Race. But I'm still not bungee jumping. So.
I mean, actually, you don't even like airplanes, so like that's like twofold of like. Ugh.
Yeah, I would do an airplane thing though. Like I would have went on that glider that they had.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't want to if you could have just.
I would do it. I would take that away from you. Yeah. Okay, so I'm like, okay, oh boy, the brothers have a voiceover about making a mistake. Like, I was like, oh my God, why is this a voiceover? You don't see it coming out of their mouth. They must have put that in after. I'm like, are they going to be coming in last this leg? Is that why they're saying that they don't want to make a mistake? I'm like, oh my Lord.
Chantele has a whole list of people she can go with. Okay. I would actually not be on the Amazing Race. I couldn't physically handle it. So, but theoretically, like if we were to, we talk about our strategy and what we would do. But yeah, Chantele, I would definitely say if she asked me, and I'd be like, go with someone who can like, get up early in the mornings and like run more than 10 meters without getting out of breath. So yeah. Chantele has her pick. I think you do fantastic though. I think you do wonderful. I think you can do it all. You could probably get up early. You'd be like go, making the smart choices. Yeah.
I mean, maybe not, but like it would be fun to watch.
I'd love to see it. Chantele.
I mean, if I were to go on the Amazing Race in the States, I would go with my stepmom. I've known her my whole life. She's always taking care of like all the logistics. So traveling, like she does the direction, she holds the wallet, like, you know what I mean? Like she just does all that stuff. And so and she's athletic and fit. So I would trust her to run the race with. And like, when I was younger, it was like me and her would team up with my brother against my brother and my dad. And so I don't know. We were always the team to beat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that's who I'd probably go with. Maybe my brother too, but he would probably annoy me too much. So Greg and John, they get to where they need to go for the skydiving and they run past where they need to pick up the numbers. So it was a little bit out of eye shot. So it was like on like a barricade, and so it was below eye level. So I can understand missing it.
Yeah.
But that was a big mistake.
Yeah, well, I mean, and they weren't the only teams, right? But I also think like the cars were kind of blocking it for some of the other teams that were arriving at the same time because yeah, it was low. It's and small and not distinguishable. So but that's the thing. It's like whenever you get somewhere and you're there, you usually don't have to look far if it's outdoors. If you have to go in somewhere, of course, but so, you don't want to stray too far from it, but it's hard to tell like how was it a minute delay? Was it 5 minutes? Was it, you know what I mean? So, but every second counts, especially on a tight leg like this.
Well, it's determining the order of how you're going to skydive. And so,
Yeah.
like, it might not be that much of a difference, but like you said, like
And it-
any second counts.
Yeah.
So, Joel and Greg are able to see the number. So, surprising because, like, they tend to forget things and leave things behind. So, the fact that they were observant enough to recognize the number, like, was pretty impressive. Steve and Annalie also get the number. And Robin, Corey, and Todd and Ashley pass the sign. And so I wonder if this is indicative of what's going to happen. Like, is Joel and Garrett going to win the race? Because it seems like these are little mistakes that these other teams that don't usually make that many mistakes are making.
Well, when the last two teams got there, I definitely think that one car was covering it. And when you're in the panic of two teams together, you have that diffusion of responsibility where you don't like fully zone in because you're like, oh, someone else will see it. Now there's four of us, not just two. So I actually think it's really detrimental to one's race nearing the end when you are in this like pack kind of mentality because I mean it can help you like we see later someone almost tries to take the buses out of the subway and another team helps them out, but it's at the same time you can overlook things when there's too many people that you're working with, so that's what I think happened.
Hello, Kathy. Thanks for being here. Hi, Sandy. So the bungee jumping is going to be opening at 5 a.m. John and Greg do run back and finally see the number. Are you ready to drop into Stockholm? Clearly, Jonathan is not. Ashley is siding with you and is extremely nervous. But I thought it was really like beautiful and cool, and I would be like super excited to jump out of that plane. I
Well,
mean, I'd be nervous. I would be nervous. I'm
yeah.
not like crazy. But like
I mean, well, afterwards, to your point, Ashley was like, "Oh my god, that was amazing. That was wonderful. Like all these great things," and she felt great. So yeah.
So they're going to after the jump, they get a route info and they're going to the island of Tiningo, I think, or Tiningu, for their next clue. So we see that people are dancing and there's a clue box and the roadblock is actually, do you want to talk more about like the jump?
More about the jump?
Anxiety? Yeah.
I'm gonna like relive that moment for my traumatic. I mean, I honestly, it's already out of my head. I don't even know if I looked at it. It was yeah. I think I have like a vague image of one team doing it, and then I skipped to Midsummer is what I said.
I mean, the only person that was scared obviously was Ashley, and then you also said how she after said she would do it again. I think Garrett said that he would not do it again, but it was cool. And so both teams though seem to be pretty okay with it, except for those two that kind of are like, "Ugh." But
everyone did it, so
everyone did it. It didn't seem to. I mean, there's no way that Tom wouldn't force Ashley to do it. Like, there's no way.
Oh yeah. She would never live that down for sure.
Well, even though when she's coming out of the plane, she's like literally like not moving, and she's like kind of get thrown out. So Kathy's here saying it's so hard to predict, but based on their recaps, I think they make it to the finals. I've been watching the recaps for the top 5 teams, minus Annalie and Steve. I don't think they're doing one. Yeah, I haven't seen them doing a recap. So are we talking about?
I think you're talking about Joel and Garrett.
Oh, got it. Hi, Thomas. Yeah, it was kind of impromptu that we decided to do it today before we get too spoiled. All right, so the roadblock is who wants to party? And so they have to make a midsummer flower arrangements and raise a maypole and do a little dance. So who would you be doing this one? Yeah, I think you'd have to be doing this one.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. I mean, I love the horror film. If you watched the horror film based on that, so I was like instantly, I was like, ooh, but it didn't. Yeah, there wasn't. It didn't show you anything that made it look like it was super complicated, and it's just being aware of what's in front of you. So I would have definitely jumped on it. I'm like, sure, I'll do it.
I mean, yeah, I think it's one that either of us could do, but yeah, I'd probably push you to do this one since maybe there's gonna be another heights thing that I would have to take on. So you're doing this one because it's easy. Annalie, Garrett, Greg, and Ashley are all going to be doing this one. I'm missing a person though.
It was Rob and Corey. They wait, how many people did you say?
Oh, that they did. They used their express pass.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this decision? So, to use the express pass to bounce over this particular task,
Right. I at first thought it was a mistake, and then because I'm like, oh gosh, when you're in the lead, I feel like teams sometimes don't necessarily, and they just had like one where you pick your numbers, so that's not going to happen again in the race. I was just like, and it looks like it's pretty quick and easy potentially. Maybe you should save it. But as the rest of the episode played out, I actually don't think, like, teams were doing things and arriving and leaving kind of in order. So I think it probably was because we did see a couple teams, really overlook some things in this task, whereas the other ones later on, they were all just getting them. So
but
I feel
I
like,
think that it would have been, well, now knowing what happened in the leg, I think
Mhm.
that bouncing over the detour would have been more useful.
Right. It's hard to see how long that took versus, because we saw teams struggle with this one. We saw teams overcomplicating it, not realizing they just need to decorate it however they wanted, but then just put the right amount of flowers on it. Because we saw Steve and Annalie kill it, but then the other teams were like, really, I don't even know. I still don't understand how Ashley and Todd got so far behind in that challenge. It just seemed like they could never catch up because everything else was straightforward. But at the same time, this took Ashley so long to do, and I don't get it.
Well, Rob and Corey do use the express pass. They're going to be going to the Royal Dramatic Theater and search the auditorium for a violinist and their next clue. Annalie didn't seem to have any trouble. She just like whipped up this reef, put up that maypole, and danced a little jig with the other people. So Annalie and Steve get to the violinist at the auditorium before Rob and Corey. Like, what happened there, Rob and Corey?
Yeah, and I think it's just Annalie and Steve just did such a good job at this challenge that they're really good at getting places, and seemingly, I mean, yes, they've had a few bumps in the road with self-driving, but overall they're like really on it, and they really make up time in a lot of these drives. So I'm not surprised by it. I just think the whole race was pretty tight, and so yeah, and Rob and Corey were kind of like on this. I don't know if it's like a curse of like an express pass, or sometimes when you have idols and powers and stuff, you just don't play as well as you do if you didn't. And yeah, maybe they were just a little like we saw Corey say later on, oh, we thought we had more of a lead on the rest of the teams.
Absolutely. Right then, when we see Natalie and Steve.
Then I feel like then they picked it up. Then they were like, oh, damn, okay. But they should always have been playing like that. So they really worried me.
Taj says this is the season of flop express pass uses.
But you know what? They had to use it in this episode. And I feel like there wasn't a big advantage to using it in this episode, regardless of when they chose to use it. And me personally, I don't think there would have been much of a time advantage.
So Kathy is asking us to maybe watch Rob and Corey's recaps. It's really interesting. Rob signs the words on the screen, and Corey signs, and he does a voiceover. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I haven't watched it yet. There's so much to watch on television right now that I don't have time to watch all these recaps, but I'll probably venture into maybe a couple of them since you guys are suggesting it. Thomas here is saying, I feel like they may have wasted it, but you never know. Rob and Corey may have sucked at it. Hindsight,
right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know that they could have been the Ashley of the challenge, where they're just like not getting it and they not realizing that they don't have the flowers right.
So, after getting their clue from the violinist, they're going to be traveling by subway to Solna Centrum Station, the largest art gallery in the world. And so Corey and Rob do see Steve and Annalie leaving. Steve and Annalie get on the bus that you spoke of, and then Rob and Corey catch up to them and being like, "Wait, like we're supposed to take a subway." So Annalie and Steve do not know what a subway is. Now,
This,
I taken the subway my whole life, so I know what it is, but I can't actually understand not knowing what a subway was. So
right. I mean,
do
they're
they not have
from
subways they're in Texas, right?
Texas. I guess they don't. I don't know. I mean, we're both from like GTA, Greater Toronto Area. There's obviously subways. Um, yeah, I don't know. I also don't know how you don't know what a subway is, even though I never grew up taking them. I'm from the suburbs, but I mean, I live right next to a huge city that does. And obviously now I live in the city, but it was very surprising. But she also didn't know what a rickshaw was either. And
Rickshaw
um,
is a little bit more forgiving in my opinion. Okay, so there is a metro in
oh, she's looking it up.
Texas. They have a metro
She's like, it's
system.
3.25 miles away from their house. Like,
Well, okay, it says track, bus, or train. So they just call it a train, not a subway.
yeah. I can see if you were in the UK and like you call
Tube.
things like the tube or the trolley or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's like different, but it's a subway. It's a subway,
Wait,
right?
Kathy says, have they at least seen them on TV or a movie? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just very surprising to not know what a subway is. Like, I know in Montreal, we call it the metro. Toronto,
Mm.
we call it a subway. As you said, in England or in the UK, they call it the tube. There's probably like LRT, like like transit, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like you'd know what a subway is.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I thought you meant Grand Theft Auto when you said GTA.
I'm from a video game. This is not real life behind you either.
It's the Greater Toronto Area, but I'm from Toronto, so I've always grown up in the city and had to take transit to school when I was a wee one.
Right. Another hot take. Don't sit on the subway nowadays. Bed bugs are a big problem. So yeah, there's a lot of online stuff where you can see the bed bugs. And so stand when you take the subway and or public buses. But back to the show, I forgot that they just are unaware of these things. I mean, you don't know where they're from in Texas. It could be very not that or anywhere near one. So it's hard to say. But I mean, my problem with this is that Rob and Corey told them. You went out of your way to jump on it and we're like, are you sure this isn't a subway? I'd have been like, they're on the bus, let's go.
Exactly. Like Kathy can't believe that they told them as well. But I guess it was just like they were maybe second guessing.
I think so too. Yeah.
Like they're just like, wait, we're supposed to take a subway. And they're like, this isn't a subway. And so they're probably like, oh shoot, we shouldn't have told
But you're
them.
not on a 4-person team. Like you need to distinguish yourself when there's only 5 teams left and now 4. You can't play like that. You just need to make these decisions, make that realization, talk to your father and don't just go ahead and be like, hey, I mean, they all work together and they all made all these mistakes together. Cause then we see, Greg and John join up with them in a little bit as well.
Well, they finally do get to the subway and then back over at the wreath making station. Greg gets it. And Ashley is doing the wreath and she's taking forever. And so Lovable Nikki here is saying that Ashley alluded to it in last week's recap that she did too much. She made the greenery too full. That was not necessary. Well, that's the thing. We did hear her say actually, even in a voiceover, that she was putting in more work than it seemed like Annalise did. Like Annalise was just like bending the twigs or whatever and just like lacing it up really quickly. And it seemed like Ashley was like cutting the pieces to make it perfectly curved.
Ashley was doing it like it was her job, but also, wouldn't you just call check just to, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this isn't as full. Annalie and, did it super, super quick. So, let me just see if this passes. Check. No. Okay. Let me do it again. Like, why are you trying to perfect it? A check takes 2 seconds, especially when you're, in
Well,
last.
we see that this is like how she handles her task in the previous episode. So the first one where they had to do the whole Lily thing,
Yeah.
where it did have to be quite particular, and so she kind of got tripped up there a little bit as well. Like she wasn't able to do a good job, and when she had to learn the dance with the pots on her head, like she waited a really, really, really long time to make sure that she really had it really well, when she could have probably have tried maybe 20 minutes earlier or 30 minutes earlier. And
You
so it seems like she's worried about doing it poorly, and so she takes too much time.
She really does, and you're right about that. Do you think Todd would have done a better job, just like
Yeah,
rushing through it?
he'd be
And
rushed through it, and it'll probably get a pass.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's kind of shitty, but like she must be maybe I wonder if she's a Virgo, because Virgos are about the particulars. All right, so John and Greg seemingly have no trouble finding the concert hall. So they're going to be finding the violinist and the clue, and they're going to be leaving in third place. Joel and Garrett get to the concert hall. They all get to the subway, but Joel and Garrett are about 7 minutes behind Greg and John because they missed that particular subway. So Stephen, Annalie, and Corey and Rob get to the Detour at about the same time. And it's going to be where they're going to be sorting through a family's trash and sorting it into different, it's one of 15 sorting stations, or serve, where they talk about Alfred Nobel and the Nobel Prize. And there's certain dinners that they have every year with people that recipients of the Nobel Peace Prize. And so they're going to be memorizing 3 courses and 4 people sitting at a table. How do you feel about these 2 challenges?
I don't think either of them were difficult enough. Yeah, I didn't love the challenges. I like challenges more that are along the lines of the serving the meals and whatnot, but I just didn't think that they would. What? And first of all, I do want to talk about that Greg and John. Which one of them? One of them said that they were. Was it John? One of them said that they
Greg
were
studied
spoke
French.
French. Yeah, but I'm like, how are you looking at all these words and be like, after several even seconds, say like, oh, it's in French. I'm like, of course it's in French. How do you not instantly look at it and be like, that's French?
Well, maybe he was immediately thinking it would be in Swedish. So like maybe he.
I was just like, he was like, oh, I studied it. I know French. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but it took you like several moments to realize that it was French. I'm like, it's French.
I definitely had that same thought as well, because it's like, if you know French, then when you see French, you would read French.
Yeah, you wouldn't be like, yeah, exactly, right? You wouldn't be like, oh, this is French. Okay.
Maybe they asked him to give him a reaction.
Yeah, maybe. I was just like, oh, do you know French? But I lean towards those types of tasks. I liked how they had like just brute force versus like one that you could potentially use your knowledge base and skill sets to do better at. But at the same time, there was just something about both of them that were a little lacking for me. Yeah.
Well, Sandy here thinks that the teacher choices were unbalanced. One sounds so easy, one sounds so hard. It does seem like the memorizing task sounded hard, it was more difficult.
Yeah, but if you're good at memorization or something, you should probably do that. Whereas like the other one's kind of mindless, just get through the work, which, I feel like that's what most of the tasks usually are. Like you either do this or this, is like choose your strength,
Do you think that John and Greg chose incorrectly?
No, I think everyone, I think they could have done either, but only if they messed up badly. I think I would have thought that they've chose incorrectly, but I think everyone chose probably what was best for them.
So Thomas likes the mentioning of the Nobel Prize, loving to hear historical based tasks. Now, what is the criteria to win a Nobel Peace Prize?
I have no idea.
Me neither, but I want one. I want to be invited to that dinner.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do something epic. I don't know, like world changing. I mean,
I need to discover
towards the greater
a
good
vaccine.
of
Like,
humanity or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. I was gonna suggest things and then I realized I have absolutely no idea. I was like, isn't there like great like couldn't you be like an author and have like a Nobel Peace Prize or
yeah.
like for something? I don't know. I know nothing about it, so I should stop talking about it.
Let's see if I can find this out because hold on, no Peace Prize criteria. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so since March 1901, it has been awarded annually, with some exceptions, to those who have done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations, for the abolition or reduction of standing armies, and for the holding and promotion of peace congresses. Okay. Okay. So, in total, the recipient should have a solid and sound character that is selfless, humble, and also a forward thinker. Firstly, the laureate must be someone with strong moral values. Okay.
Yeah.
The prize takes place annually. Each recipient receives a green gold medal plated with 24-karat gold, a diploma, and a monetary award. As of 2023, the monetary award was 11 million SEK. What's SEK? I guess Swedish something.
I don't know.
Okay, well, there we go.
I'm never winning one.
Never? Come on,
No, that's
Jonathan.
just like a lot of dedication to like one thing, and I don't. I'm like I dip my toes in a bunch of stuff.
Okay, that's about 1.429 million Canadian dollars. So a little bit over a million US. Okay, I'll take it. I want a Peace Prize. That might be easier for us to win than the Amazing Race, since you won't be bungee jumping. So let's win a Peace Prize and we can make some money.
I'll get right on that. Right.
So Stephen Annalene and Robin Corey are going to be working together doing Sort. Greg and John, though, are going to be doing Serve, and Joel and Garrett are also going to be doing Sort. Todd and Ashley finally leave the wreath and they get over to the auditorium and they finally get the clue from the violinist. And they just seem so far away from the other teams. It's actually wild. I would like to have seen a counter maybe so I could know how far behind they were, but like it seemed like they really, really dragged far behind. So this is where Greg was like, oh wowza, with all of the different food on a table. And that's when he was like, oh, it's in French. It's like, yeah, it's in French. I thought it was pretty hard, personally. Like, I know you're saying that you thought it was kind of easy, but I thought it was pretty difficult for the fact that they had to give the correct dish to one of the 4 people. They had 3 courses, so like they had to deal with 12 in the correct order. I just thought it was a little bit challenging.
But it wasn't all at once, and like you could just run back into the other room and just double check what was on that list, and then come right. You know what I mean? Which he did at one point. So it's not like you're like, oh, what was that? Wait, let me run 2 rooms over. Not like up a hill and back down again to, because you've forgotten it. It's just right over there. So it just didn't seem like enough for me. I mean, I think they did a good job at it. And I definitely could see that if more teams did it, certain teams could have messed up. But I just don't think you would have messed up enough that it really would have mattered. Like and I do enjoy that teams went to both locations and we just didn't see one because I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like even if all the teams went to it, they probably would have finished in the same order that they arrived, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hi, Glenda. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
So which one would we do? We would do the mindless sorting.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're like, I'm good at memorization, I would have been like, sure. But yeah, I definitely would have been okay with, because, you do have teams like Steve and Annalee. The physicality to that team is, not as strong as Rob and Corey, but there is Rob and Corey. There is Greg and John. So I'd worried that they would do that. And then Ashley and Todd, I'd be like, oh, Todd's a big guy. He could do that. So I might have leaned towards not doing the physical challenge. and trying to just get our memory going. But yeah, it's there's only 5 teams left, so it's like, I don't know, it's tough. I would have been okay with either though.
How do you think we would tackle the restaurant one, the dinner one?
I would say you can serve, and
Okay,
like
so
food and
I think
drink,
I'd probably
and I'll
do
just
some
spot.
you can speak enough French to know like épinard is spinach, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, in Canada, so we take French up until, I mean, you can take it even longer, but I took French up until and including high school. So
So yeah, I think I would just look at the key elements. So like one was like scallops, and I'd be like, okay, scallops and spinach. And I'd probably say them in English.
and I also watch like every cooking. I mean, I don't cook, but I watch every cooking show challenge. Right. So I'm like, Food Network is my best friend. So I feel like I could have recognized a lot of dishes as well, or components within the dishes. So
Yeah, it did seem daunting with the amount of dishes that were on the table, but it didn't seem that hard in the end. Oh, Kathy's like, I feel so bad for the people at the tables that didn't get chosen. They just have to sit there all ready to go and no one shows up. Aw. How much do you think they're getting paid?
I'm sure just
Like
whatever
$1,000?
whatever their daily rate is there
Yeah,
for.
like
Yeah.
$1,000. I mean, I'd sit there for $1,000. It's like background work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally. All right. So Ashley is pretty discouraged because, they're in the back of the pack and she's kind of moping. And Todd's trying to be encouraging, saying, like, everybody loves a comeback story. So we do get the title of the episode. And we do love a comeback story if he had made one. Sorry. John does get his second check for the second course, and it's correct. It didn't seem like he made any mistakes, unless they just didn't show it to us, but he did the first course correctly, second course correctly. Back over at the sorting detour, Rob actually gets there first, and Stephen and Anna Lee gets there second. Or finishes first and second. I don't know. They get their next thing. They didn't seem to have any trouble sorting it. All the signs were in Swedish,
Yeah.
but
I think they finished at the exact same time. They're like, check, check, like same thing. Yeah.
but I think getting the clue was Rob first. But
Yeah, someone definitely did, and they did distinguish it, but it was literally a microsecond between them, really.
So they get a route info, and they're going to be taking a taxi to Pampas Marina. Back over to John. He gets his third course really, really quickly and easily, it seems. He loves the hospitality aspect to this. Do you love the hospitality aspect? Have you ever worked in hospitality?
No, I mean, like, I worked in retail, and
Other than Rogers, or
no. So I mean, did
okay.
I? No, just I mean, I worked at a school. I worked in Rogers for 10 years. I worked, and then what I do now is not hospitality at all. But I mean, it's fine. There's something like joyful about being nice to people and having them be nice to you back. So I it was cute, like watching it and being like, and I hope you enjoy yourselves, and thank you. I was like, but I wouldn't have been like that. I'm like, here you go, here's your stuff. I'm racing for $1 million.
Todd wants to know if Todd was annoying anyone else around this point. I think Ashley was reasonably upset, and Todd didn't seem to be helping.
That was last episode for me, where Todd's like,
"Oh, what is 2 Chainz?"
Yeah,
oh
I'm like, Todd, get it together, Todd. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think that he was actually probably really frustrated, but he didn't want to be irritated with Ashley.
Yes.
And so he was like going all in on being like extra encouraging because he was probably raging.
Yeah.
That's my perspective. And I think it's a better way to go. Cause like, I don't know. I'd probably be pretty pissed if like you took like an extra 20 minutes on a stupid wreath and we're going to be eliminated from the race and then you're complaining about it. I'd be like,
I would expect you to be like,
screwed
you have
it
fun
up.
doing your arts and crafts? Let's go. Like, I would expect you to say that. I'd be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I think he was just biting his tongue. So Joel riding the bike at the sorting thing. I was like, Joel, get off that bike. Like, why are you doing this? It wasn't the right place and time. But is there an activity that if you saw on the race that you would just have to do?
No, I wouldn't even remember the countries that I was in because I'd be so laser focused on the tasks that I was doing. It would almost not matter. But yeah, that team tends to do a little bit of that where they're just like taking the moment or the sights for a split second, and it's fine, but also sometimes it can come back to haunt you. So.
Hmm. Sandy thought that Todd was just trying to be positive and not feed off of Ashley's defeated attitude.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, they've been together for so long that they know, when just not to even try. Like if someone's like spiraling or just not doing well, it's like this is what he needs to do to get through this leg and lift her up and whatever. So
Absolutely. He's probably like, what, I know we're last. There's no point in me like making her feel worse about this. So let's try to pump her up. So Ashley and Todd are going to be doing sword. I wouldn't expect any less. Were you surprised by any of the tasks that these teams chose?
no. Although I think if anything, I could have seen Annalie and her father do the other task, but again, his ability, his lack of attention to detail, perhaps with sight. I don't know. Maybe she's not feel strong about the memory, but just knowing that this would be a physical task, and her father's older, and she's small. She's quite petite, it seems like. I thought there might be some hesitation there, but they're the only ones I could have guessed may have done the other one as opposed that what they selected. So.
And I was slightly surprised that Greg and John didn't do the physical tasks, but I guess they even though they are quite athletic, they are more brainiacs in their eyes, and so I did think though that they might choose the physical task.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Rob and Corey do get their clue first, and they are going to be traveling to the pit stop, traveling by subway. And then we see, and so also Steve and Annalie are pretty much right there with them. Greg and John are able to catch up to team 1 and 2, so they're all like running around looking for the subway to try to get to the pit stop subway station. So the top 3 teams end up running together, and by this time, Joel and Garrett, they are finished the sort task, and they're also running to the subway. And they didn't seem to have any directional problems. Now, do you think that the issue here was that that Greg and John decided to follow the group instead of doing their own thing? Because they never seem to have directional problems like this.
Oh, for sure. It's the group think. It's like, have you not been to, places with your friends or like a larger group and you get lost, you don't know where you're going, you pass things, but you're not focused like you need to be, like the onus is on yourself when you're in just 2. Like I said at the beginning of this, the worst thing you can do is group up together with all these tasks in a final 5 and be like, let's do that, because you're panicked, yet you're expecting someone else to know rather than know within yourself, or know, like make the decision of like, let's ask this person. I mean, they did seem to like be getting all these different directions, like they mentioned, like you'd speak to someone and they would point there, and speak to someone else and they point back over there or whatever. So it's hard to say, but I don't think all 6 people running together were of a benefit to them. Yeah, I think that kind of got them on the wrong path, and then it snowballed with some bad directions. So
yeah, they end up stopped being a passerby. Can we use your GPS? Like Greg and John took control of that and being like, okay, we're running like aimlessly in the wrong direction, and we need to find someone, so let's get back on track. So to get this direction, and they're going to be running to the pit stop now, but Joel and Garrett are able to find the subway seemingly with ease, and they manage to get to the pit stop in first place, winning a trip to the Galapagos Islands. I didn't spell it correctly, so then I was like, how do you actually say that word? Galapagos Islands. Have you been?
I have not,
Me
but
neither.
they were definitely shocked to win it. They were like, "What first? What
That's
happened to everyone
amazing.
else?" Yeah.
Now, I would have liked to see a timer with like those 3 teams. They are doing the split screen with Todd and Ashley. So like I wanted to see how close they actually were because it was a foot race to the end, to the pit stop. And Sandy here doesn't think it was a good idea to have the foot race to the pit stop where these 2 dads are still in the race and there's one team who can outrun the other team. I mean, they don't know who's going to be at the end at this point, right?
Well, and here's the thing. So this is the indicator to me that I feel like this is going to happen in the last leg. I feel like this season has had a lot. I've mentioned it a few times, so it reminded me that they've had a lot of really tight legs and challenges that don't really put one team, you know, greatly behind or greatly more forward, or these really big departure times between teams. So it's all really close. And I feel like that is such a detriment to Annalie and Steve because he can't keep up. And they've shown us this and they've hinted towards it. And so you know, whereas like Rob and Corey also struggled with that a little bit, it's really only bogs down Steve and Annalie. So I feel like they're gonna get to the end, but he's not gonna be able to keep up with the other teams that are there physically. So we'll see. That's just my random guess.
Apparently, Steve is older than Kathy, or Kathy's older than Steve. And Kathy's also going to the Galapagos in 2025. What's fun.
You know how old he is?
How old
if
is
not,
oh,
do you like to guess like how old? Because I would have thought that he's guess first and then I'll tell you because I'm looking at it now. But
my like 60.
Yeah, so I would have guessed that he was about 10 years older than he actually is. He's 54. That's a 54.
That's like kind of like my dating bracket.
He's a lot younger than I thought he was. I would have guessed mid-60s myself.
60. Yeah. I mean, I guess like that's not too much.
I mean, my father's 62, my mother's 59 years old, and I feel they look 20 years younger than he is. And yeah.
Oh, okay. So Sandy says that Ashley said they arrived around 15 minutes after Steve and Annalie. Okay, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's
15-minute mistake. Like she took 15 minutes longer on that damn wreath.
And that's all it was. Like that's what I said. Like it was literally that task, and then the edit made it seem like it was like far behind. But I'm telling you, it definitely felt like everything was really, really close.
Wow.
My mom. Wait, is my mom? How old's my mom? What year are we in? Yeah.
What year did Steve born in? 65 or something? What is it? Does it say?
He's 54. So no, he's my mother was born in 1965. So she'll be 60 or she'll be 59 in February.
Oh wait, he's 54. Sorry. Okay. Wait, so he's born in 69? Wow.
54, yeah. 70, 30.
Well, I'm 79, 20, so
yeah.
I'm 44.
Yeah.
Wow. 69 is like young.
That's what I'm saying. I'm 83. Like it's like not, it's shocked. I didn't even think to look it up. Having said that, also, I would not have guessed that Annalie was 28 either. So
you think she's younger?
She just feels, I mean, not that much younger, but she just feels like, several years younger, even though I know she's like married and whatnot, but people get married young sometimes. So.
Yeah, she seems younger, but I also 28 is actually really young. But when I was 28, I thought I was like really old. So Kathy would be huffing and puffing worse than Steve. I mean, she was on him. She's like, "Come on, Dad. Come on.
They're already all there. I see them. They're all there.
They're all there. We're going to lose this race because of you."
What if your dad, dropped to his knees right now with a medical issue because of, you know what I mean? Like, what's worth it? He'll do what he can do. Like, calm down.
Seriously.
I didn't like it. I didn't like that part.
No. Wait, say had Rob and Corey let Steve and Annalie take the subway, Steve and Annalie would probably have come in last.
I know.
That's my final team though from my draft, so we need them in. Can
you imagine though, like if Steve and Annalie win the whole race and like in that moment, it's like if you didn't tell them that they were on a bus, not a subway, like if you can trace it to like one moment, you know what I mean? Wow.
Brutal. So Greg and John, with their athleticism, are able to get to the pit stop in second place. Third place, Robin Corey. Fourth place is Steve and Anna Lee. And 15 minutes later, Todd and Anna Lee are at the mat and are eliminated from the race. And Todd does give an emotional goodbye. Are we emotional about this goodbye? I actually kind of teared up a little bit.
I'm sad to see them go. I feel like it's hard because I think I wanted my top 3 teams to be Rob and Corey, with the 5 that are left. It would be almost said Stephen and Lee, and that's not it. Rob and Corey, Todd and Ashley, and then the brothers. Yeah. I feel like that's my top 3 out of this. So I feel like I was losing one of my top 3. But I also kind of felt that they were going to be out 4th or 5th. Their best placement. They've had 5. I've looked this up earlier. They had 5 5th place placements. They had a 1 second place, which was their best one, and then a 3rd place, I think, was their next best one. But yeah, like 5 5th places. You know what I mean?
That's where they sit.
Yeah,
that's where they sit. Well, it's almost coming to an. So, how many episodes left? 2.
It must be. Yeah, right.
So we're coming to the end. So, do we have any predictions?
I think it's either Rob and Corey or the brothers, Greg and John.
I mean, it's great. Either team, I'd be very happy if either of them won.
Yeah, I think the brothers really have it together, and they've really tightened things up, and they seem to be having the smoothest race out of who's left.
And they're learning from their mistakes, and
yes, it's a big one. Yeah. So, I mean, I could see them do it, but sometimes, like they said before, Rob and Corey just pop out of nowhere.
I know.
Which could have been a little hint of them, at the end. So they might be able to pull something out.
I mean, that would be like a very, very nice ending. It'd be almost as if the twins won the last one, right?
Yes, very satisfying.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really would like all these all the teams to. I'm even okay with Steve. Well, no, I don't necessarily want Steve and Anna Lee to win, other than the fact that they're on my draft. But the other, and Joel and Garrett, I'm happy for them winning this leg, but I don't think I'd be satisfied with them winning the whole season. So right now, I agree. John and Greg and Rob and Corey are the 2 teams that I'd be most satisfied with winning.
Yeah, we might be devastated. Like, who's going out next? We might lose one of our teams that we want to win. So I don't know.
That's sickening.
But then we get a new race in just a few months' time anyway. So that's exciting too. Yeah.
Yay. Well, that's pretty much it for the episode. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, it was great. I mean, sad, great, love it. Love the 90 minutes like always. And yeah, and like we said at the beginning of this, if you haven't watched Squid Games, the challenge, watch Squid Games first. And because there's a season 2 that's going to be coming out for that as well. And then watch Squid Game, the challenge. You haven't seen any of it.
Now, I really hope that season 2 of Squid Games, it does like completely different challenges and stuff like that. So then when season 2 comes out, they just don't do like copy, paste, repeat of what they did in the challenge. That it'll be a new game. So that would be very exciting.
Right. And then go to Costco and get the little cookies that you can lick on with the umbrellas and the stars, and have fun with your friends at home. Like,
wait, should we do that?
We should do it. I would love to do that.
Wait, do they actually have it at Costco?
Yeah.
Is it like saying Squid Games? Like,
I have it written down.
Cookie thing?
I know the brand name. It's literally exactly what you. Yeah. At Costco.
Can you buy it for Christmas?
I mean, I'll be getting it. I will find my way there. I have a Costco membership, so I just haven't checked if it's just regionally in the United States or if it's also in Canada. But
it's in the States, and I'll get my dad to send us some.
Yeah, but they have it. I've seen it, and I was like, I would buy 10 of these things. I'm like, it's such a fun thing to do. I mean, yeah.
Seeing me and you like,
I would probably have
spitting on the cookie. Would
One's
you
to do
spit
with
on my
friends.
cookie if you were allowed to, Jonathan?
One's for you to save you, absolutely. I'd spit on your cookie. And but you could also watch. I don't think we can say that. You could also watch the TV show and like play along with it. I don't know. I just loved it. I loved it.
Kathy didn't watch Squid Game, the TV show, like the original
Mhm.
series.
Yeah,
Should she go back and watch?
100%. Yeah,
It's pretty good. I don't think I saw the last couple episodes, but like the beginning was pretty intense.
yeah. They do a good job with it. And then there's like, it's one of those things where it's very satisfying at the end because there's, something unexpected that happens. And I won't say more than that. But yeah, watch it. Watch all of it, the original, and you'll like it even if you watch them out of order, kind of a thing. So
Kathy said the winners from the circle did the cookie challenge on the circle, or they just did it like on like a recap. How did they do it?
winners from the circle did the cookie challenge. Oof.
Hmm.
Fun, right? I'm sure it was fun.
I mean, I would be doing like I want to get proficient at umbrella.
Yeah.
Okay, what would your strategy be? Just like I don't know, I want to hear what your strategy would be to not get eliminated, but also not get umbrella.
Gosh, I mean, that's a thing. It's like I would just be like trying to go for star and just be like, I'll do star, I'll do star, I'll do one of the
There's no
hardest.
star,
Yeah, there was circle, triangle, star
no square, umbrella.
on the challenge. I thought it
Think
was
so.
star. I thought it was star and umbrella. I think
th-
star was like the third hardest one on the challenge. I'm pretty sure because I was like, yeah, people are going for the star. I'm like, that's still hard too. But the umbrella, if you get the umbrella, yeah, they did it on IG, Instagram. If you do the umbrella, I would say the hardest part is that J part. So I would start like with the J, like with the hook on the umbrella first, let that soak. And then work on other parts and go back to it after a period of time. That's just what I would do.
Okay,
If
you're
I
right. It was star, not square. Circle, triangle, umbrella, and star.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been square on the show because like they wear the square on the masks and stuff too. But on the challenge, it was star because I remember them running up to it and I was like, star's even still hard. I mean, yeah.
But
Oh, there. I will look them up, Kathy. I will give you the brand name. Hold on. You know what? Like, do I even have a photo of it? Because I feel like
what are dalgona cookies made of?
I wrote it down somewhere. There's the brand name for it, and
So it's Korean sponge candy.
do I have it? I don't know where I put it, but I have it down somewhere. I'll look it up for next time.
Well, dalgona. I'll just do it right now. I think. Dalgona, Costco.
I think I saved the video. Is what.
Did you know that Costco sells dalgona candy? This is TikTok.
Oh, is that what was it called? That sounds
dalgona.
right.
Oh, I see it here. Hold on. Let me just
right.
show you guys this page.
Dalgona. Yeah, I feel like that's it.
So dalgona candy, that's at Costco apparently.
I'd take that crate. I'd take the crate.
So yeah, let's maybe we should all do it like a challenge online where we're all just licking cookies.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Jonathan, for hanging out with me today, talking about my two favorite shows right now, Amazing Race and the challenge, Squid Game. Does it bother you though that it's called Squid Game, not Squid Games?
Squid Game, the challenge, or is the original called Squid Game as well instead of Squid
They're both
Games?
Squid Game.
Squid Game. Ooh, I mean, I don't want to jump to an answer. I'm okay with it. I feel like if it's for a purpose, it's because the whole entirety is
Thing is a game,
and with little games in them, but it's Squid Game, which is,
the show
combination of all of it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
It just I always say Squid Games, and I'm just like,
me too.
So
it's like those. It's like when you say like some people. I don't make this mistake, but some people say Downtown Abbey, and I'm, you know what I mean. I'm like, it's Downton Abbey.
Yeah, it's Downton.
It's a little like that, yeah. But yeah. But yeah, let's run to Costco and get them.
Let's run to Costco. Thank you, everybody here in the chat, for hanging out with us today. We'll be back sometime next week. It might be Sunday, just because I'm going to be in New Orleans. Sorry, I had to say it more American. Nolans. For Robin's podcast. So if you guys are going to be in the Nolans area, come and say hey. I'll be there from Tuesday to Saturday. And so I don't remember what time I get home. It's actually going to probably be late because I'm going to be going into the past. So yeah. Well, okay, sorry. Kathy just tagged me in the IG reel from the circles winners.
We'll have to
doesn't know your IG.
Jonathan Oliveira, 1983. Oliveira. Jonathan Oliveira, 1983.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, everybody here in the chat. Thank you, Jonathan. And we'll see you soon. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video. Let us know, which team do you want out next? Who do you want out next?
Who are you giving the umbrella to?
Oh,
which team?
I would give the umbrella to Steve and Anna Lee, because I think that they would be the most stressed out by it.
Me too.
And I think most entertaining.
Yeah.
Like too. John and Greg would take it on the chin. Joel and Garrett would be like, we're too big for this. Our hands are going to break this, but whatever. Okay. Like, they'll just be kind of easygoing about it. Rob and Corey, I think that they'd be fine with it. They'd just be like, oh, this is hard, but it's just would power down and do it. But I think that Annalie would be crying. Like, they gave the hardest one. Like just super freaking out.
Yeah.
Who would you give the circle to?
Rob and Corey.
Triangle? Oh, no triangle. Star?
The Star, Joel and Garrett, umbrella. Yeah, them. And then what is it? Is it triangle or is it square? It's triangle would be the brothers, Greg and John. Yeah,
I agree with that.
What will you? I'll answer it below. Everyone, let us know what you would give your Squid Game challenge, cookie challenge, to which teams.
I think most people would probably give our same order, but let us know anyways below. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.